Last month was in many ways more of the same for me this year. It followed much in the footprints of April, which had been a bit of a step back in terms of content production and some of my statistics, but much of that was motivated by the start of a new job and, matching that with lower video output to avoid burnout, which seemed a real possibility after the video or stream every single day schedule that I ran in February and March. There were some technical difficulties moving into May and getting through the month, some random scheduling problems that, cropped up in a few places, and no small amount of personal things that did, muddy the waters a little bit throughout, but I made it through. I am surviving, if not precisely thriving per se, and the work of getting life and habits on track is, well, it can be a bit hit or miss sometimes, but it's not going the worst that I've ever experienced at the moment either. And I suppose the same could be said for all of the updates that I have for you today for this video. That means, without further ado, it is time to officially wrap up May 2026, after which we'll look ahead a bit into June. So we'll start off with last month's videos and highlights. I did do the regular amount of update videos last month, 2 Fortnights on the Isle and 1 State of Affairs, so nothing really new there. On the main channel, I posted 10 videos, an identical amount to what I got posted in April. On the second channel, I was able to up the output a little bit more and make that 9 videos. And then I did not release any new videos on the third channel either, but we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on there here in just a second. As for some of the highlight videos themselves, starting off on the main channel, I did post basically my last handful of Wheel of Time related videos. So I did the last Wheel of Time diary talking about the last trilogy, so to speak, that final arc of the series. I did a full series review and recommendation style video where I just talked about the whole thing, my impressions, the good and the bad related to it, and I of course did a ranking and tier list video as well to just kind of wrap up everything to do with the series for now, and that was a great time. I also posted a review of a new favorite book of mine, The Sparrow. That one was a very impactful read, and that was a difficult review. It got more attention than I thought, and then I did a collaboration with Christopher's channel to answer a question that had cropped up about Sun Eater. On the second channel, I posted a full trilogy review of The Hobbit, and that was honestly a whole lot of fun watching those and writing that script. I did a Ghost of Yote review, which was a little bit delayed, but I ultimately am very happy with how that video turned out. Probably my favorite video I posted this month. And then I finished the BioShock 2 Let's Play, which started last month and now finished this month. That was good. And then on the third channel, no new video was posted, but I did get questions asking about my short story, Every Breath a Burden. And so that got a little bit of stuff going on this month as well. So I'll just shout that out because I'm happy for people to check out that story if you want to through the link up in the corner, I suppose. That's going to take us into the actual statistics themselves, though, because this is a little bit interesting this month. I think on my main channel, a lot of things ended up being more or less the same as they were last month. Not a whole lot of change for sure. I got 2,133 views compared to what was it, like 2,127 in April, so basically an identical view count on the main channel. A little bit of a step down on the watch hours side of things, 234 hours compared to somewhere in the 250s range. Not a huge drop off, just a little bit of one. A little bit down on the impressions, under 40,000 this month, but considering that my view count was basically the same, that means the click-through rate was a little bit up. And then a net gain of 5 subscribers over the month, even though, yet again, this is kind of the same story as I said last month. My subscriber count this year has been really weird and inconsistent. Like the last couple months have actually pretty consistently been barely getting any net gain. I've actually gained, upwards of 15 subscribers each of the last couple months, but also lost a lot and have no idea where those losses are coming from or why. Nothing that I can obviously see through my trends, which is strange, but I did have that net increase, and as of recording this, I'm actually right back down to 1157 again on the first day of the month, so I've lost 2 again today. I don't, like I said, I have no idea like what is actually going on with all of that stuff. I have no idea if YouTube is purging bots or if there's anything that I'm doing specifically that is causing that. I have no clue. But net gain is still good. I'll take it. But definitely not the double digit gains that I've had every month, basically all last year and then all this year up until recently. So it's a little bit strange for sure. On the second channel, had a much bigger drop off in a couple of ways, at least in terms of the view count, down 18% here. But that is offset by the fact that my watch time was actually up by quite a bit, nearly 50 watch hours this month on the second channel. But that being mostly due to actually live streaming again. I started live streaming again this month, so that is a huge part of that. It's a huge part of why the drop off last month occurred, or in April occurred, was because I didn't do any streaming, so that's no small part of that. 27,000 impressions on the second channel, up over 50%, so that was a big increase, but considering the view drop, that means that the click-through rate was not fantastic, unfortunately. But then I still had a net gain of 3 subscribers over there, didn't lose any this month, so that was pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. As for the third channel, like I said, that video, I had a couple questions asking after it. I had some more people who read my short story, and then a couple more people who did actually listen to it, so I got a couple extra views on the video for that short story. Both of those views watched it all the way through, and then that equated to 7 impressions, so it got put into 5 other people's feeds other than the 2 people who watched it or something like that. So that's cool. No change in subscribers over there though. That number's wrong. That says +1. That should say +0. My apologies for the typo on that. But that is everything to do with the statistics. Overall, a pretty decent month. Second channel was a little bit rougher on the view count, but otherwise everything is looking pretty okay, still stable and healthy, and I'm happy with that. So let's move on to talk about the writing of last month, which is definitely a mixed bag, we shall say. We'll start off with actually the review and blog discussion, because I have a little bit more that I want to say about the fiction stuff a little bit later. It'll be relevant in just a second, but as for the reviews and blogs, I did not get nearly as much written as I probably should have, but still managed to write 13,600 words this month of stuff, despite writing basically nothing. Almost all of those words did come from 2 videos that I've already talked about in this video, though. So, that's a big part of it. As for book reviews, I did not write any reviews for any book-related stuff, like not books that I finished reading directly, just a couple theology reviews. I wrote reviews for Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, and those equated to 2,100 words or so. But as for the handful of books that I finished reading in May, and then the couple, hold over from April that still need reviews written for Goodreads, I've not touched any words on that front this month. It just didn't happen. For gaming-related stuff, I did write nearly 5,000 words this month, however, which was just finishing the Ghost of Yote review. So that review finished off at not too far away from 6,000 words total, but since I had written, 800 words already in April for that video, I was mid-progress doing that when I had made the last State of Affairs. I finished writing that on a trip early in the month and got the video out late in the month. That meant that I finished writing it, got the last 5,000 words done. Again, I'm pretty happy with how that review turned out. Film-related stuff, a somewhat similar story, except that I wrote all 6,500 plus words in film-related stuff for the Hobbit-related reviews. So that was between the actual review portions of the 3 movies themselves, plus also the introduction and conclusion portion of the video directly. So not all 6,500 words of that you'll find on Letterboxd on my reviews of the 3 films, but in the video version, that's how long the script was. So that's what I wrote there, and then I did not catch up on any of the reviews that I needed to write from prior, so I have not caught up on anything else. I only did those Hobbit ones because I was making a video about it. So yeah, kind of similar to the book stuff, I haven't really written very much on that front either, and then because I just haven't been doing anything with my music review stuff the last couple months because the platform that I was using kind of broke a while back. I just haven't gotten around to doing anything there, and I've got to be honest, I don't think I've listened to any new album releases in May at all, so I did not write any new music review stuff for May. That's a lie. I listened to one new album release. I did do that. That was Periphery's new album. I was going to make a video about that, but the Ghost of Yote video took a lot of time and got delayed, which pushed some other videos back, so that Periphery album review just didn't happen. So I haven't written any music related words, but like I said, that totaled to over 13,000 words. So that's no small amount for the review writing, but I'm very behind. I have a lot to catch up on that front. But that, having a lot to catch up on that front is probably not going to change anytime soon on account of the fact that I have started doing a little bit of fiction writing again. It's not a ton at the moment, only 664 words here, but that is because the next story that I'm writing, a follow-up to Every Breath a Burden, is in the works now. This is looking to be more of a full novella as opposed to a single small scene short story. Every Breath a Burden was only 1,360 words basically, so only 700 words longer than what I currently have for the follow-up story. I haven't fully decided on the title yet. I think the working title right now is A Wish Come True, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's could change. So those 664 words that I've written for that are for the prelude, because the structure of this story is looking like to be a prelude, a coda at the end. There will be 6 interludes in between that will all come in between 7 chapters. So that's like the structure of what I've got going on there. All of those words were writing the prelude, but about a third of that will need to be rewritten because the framing of how I'm doing stuff with the non-chapter stories, so the prelude, interludes, and the coda, is going to be doing something very specific, and what I have written for the prelude isn't going to work for that. So like I said, part of that needs to be rewritten, but getting what I got written down is helping me to actually finalize what that actual storyline is going to look like. So, things will change with this story as I continue working on it, but work has begun on that, and I hope to continue working on that as time goes on, and for that to go relatively quickly and smoothly. We shall see what happens. It's going to be a really interesting writing experience, probably the most, I guess, growth-inducing one for me since the last novella that I wrote, which was more of a learning experience from my process of writing, whereas this story here, this novella, I guess you could say, is going to be more from a actual prose writing perspective, like a challenge for me to work on and try to keep up to snuff, not just the story being told, but the actual through lines with the writing itself. Like I said, it'll be interesting, but that's one of the things that I'm working on. Speaking of things that I'm working on, let's talk very briefly about this month. I'm not going to go quite on as long as I did in the last State of Affairs about what I've got planned this month, because I don't really know much about what June looks like for me. This month could go, honestly, basically any number of ways, depending on various different factors of what I've got going on. As far as video production stuff, June, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, looks almost like February and March again, where there's a video or stream most every day. In fact, there's only one day a week where there's not a video or stream through the course of June, which might be a problem. I need to not be doing that, but that is the schedule that I've got going on right now, at least for this month. My indexing projects that I talked about last month didn't really get anything done with them for the same reason that review writing didn't really get done. I just didn't have time for a heck of a lot of that kind of stuff, and may not soon be able to get to any of that either, especially since I would like to continue doing my fiction writing stuff. That's a little bit more of what I would like to be doing in my free time this month. My review writing, like I've already mentioned, is very lacking at the moment. I should fix that. My fiction writing, I hope to make a big deal this month. Whatever else has to suffer, whatever else of my personal stuff has to suffer in order for that to happen, I would like to do that. So those are kind of the things that I'm mostly focused on at the moment. As far as my personal health and stuff goes, I could be doing a lot better about some of those goals. I guess this month is, as well, every month this year, really. It's about getting more of a grip on what I've got going on. Really, I should think about slowing down my content pace and schedule and fixing some of the other things before I try to make more videos and stuff. But I am really, really bad about workaholism and not knowing how to let up. So that is not a problem that I'm fixing this month, I don't think. But I should really, really try to. In either case, however, that is going to be the end of this update. I don't have a whole lot else to say. I got through everything that I really needed to get through, and I want this video to be a bit shorter than the last one of these was, so I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you for watching this video. If you did, I really appreciate it. For now, I've been your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.